Në episodin e 14 të podcastit Flasim, kam të ftuar një britanik, anglez. Emri i tij është Carl Roberts. Ai ka ardhur në Shqipëri fillimisht si menaxher i projektit të madh të gasjellësit Trans-Adriatik dhe pasi ka mbaruar punën si menaxher, nuk është këputur dot më nga Shqipëria, sepse i ka ndodhur ajo që i ndodh përgjithsisht të gjithë atyre që vinë në Shqipëri, ka rënë në dashuri me Shqipërinë. It's fair to say you fall in love with Albania.
That's correct, yes.
So we will talk in English, but before I want you to say to me hello in Albanian.
Përshëndetje.
Good, very good.
Përshëndetje, Prime Minister.
Very good. Përshëndetje. And let's start with when was the first time you heard the name Albania?
The very first time was at school. And what really stuck out for me is there was a map of Europe, and all the different countries had different colours, and Albania was black. And I asked the question, why? And the answer was it was a closed country. That was the first time ever I'd heard about Albania.
And then what was your perception of Albania before you got to know that you had to come here?
I'd read about Albania. I knew about the history. I'm fascinated with history. So that interested me a lot. I've worked in the former Soviet Union, and because of the ties between Albania and Russia historically, I expected to see a Russian influence, which I did, but I also saw other influences, Italian. I saw the place was more active, arriving in Tirana from the airport.
No, I'm asking before you knew that you would come to Albania,
okay.
How much you knew about Albania?
Well, that was about it, really. It was just what I read.
And then first time was when someone, I guess, told you that you have to go to manage the Trans-Adriatic pipeline, right?
That's correct. That's correct. I was based in Switzerland, and my boss said that he would like me to come to Albania. And
how you reacted?
With great, I welcomed it.
You welcomed it?
Why did I welcome it? Because Switzerland is Switzerland. It's a beautiful place, well organized. I've traveled the world, and I like places like Albania. So I was enthusiastic.
So what's wrong with Switzerland? Is boring? Is cold? Or is...
It was a little bit boring, to be honest.
Yes.
I arrived there on Sunday. Everything was closed at about 9 o'clock at night. I struggled to get a meal. Everything is too organized. It's a great place, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I know it's a great place, of course.
But I like places like Albania.
So you welcomed the
opportunity. Yes.
And then you arrived first time. What you expected to see, and what was the difference between what you expected and what you saw, or more or less what you saw, what you expected?
Like I said earlier, I was expecting to see the sort of Russian influence more than Albania sort of presented to me. I could see it was a developing country. I could see there was lots of activity, more so than I thought, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
And
what year was that when you?
That was 2015.
2015.
Yeah.
And then you saw Tirana. You started by establishing first in Tirana, right?
Correct.
And then you went to the south.
Yes. I mean, the first 12 months of the project was strengthening roads and bridges across, obviously, the width of Albania, to allow the construction work to commence, because obviously we were moving lots of heavy equipment and lots of pipes. I'd been in Albania about 2 weeks, and we then had to take the tenderers for the pipeline to show them the pipeline route. So I went from Belisht right the way Vithkuch, and then across to the other side, Potom, Cherevoda, right the way through to Fia. And that was a great introduction of life outside Tirana, because I see Tirana as obviously the capital and where the majority of people live. But I like to go to the rural areas and see how people really live. And there's a big contrast, as you know better than me.
True. Before going further, I wanted just to share with you the following. When I was elected 2013, one of the first meetings with international people coming to me, and in fact was not even here, but was before I entered office, if I'm not wrong, because we have this transition period. It was with representation of TAP. Some representatives of the shareholders coming, and they were quite, nervous, because they wanted to tell me, which made me nervous, that they were now in the phase of preparing to start the work, and they were worried about potential bureaucratic hurdles, about delays, about potentially difficult relation with the state, with the local governments, with the central government, and they were talking about how important it was to meet the deadlines. And they were explaining that they had to go through Turkey, Greece, Albania, and Italy, and more or less they were confident that everything would be fine with these other countries, but they were not very confident. They wanted reassurances that Albania would behave, because their mind was full of things that were not necessarily very good about the state performance and about corruption and all these things. I got nervous because the project was huge, and and their concerns were not unfounded. So that we created a team. We created what at that period in time, when we had to go through certain things, called the Black Belt team, to support the project by making sure that all the institutions went through this team, and the top team would not have to go to knock in different doors, and it worked very well. And some years after, they came again, and it was different meeting, it was different spirit, and it was even funny, because they said, Prime Minister, we came because we wanted to make sure that the not totally pleasant meeting we had to have with you in the very beginning had a follow-up. And in some ways we want to apologize for, a hard judgment or prejudgment or whatever. Because what we are experiencing is that in terms of bureaucracy, Albania is the easiest.
Yes.
With Turkey, not so easy. With Greece, even more complicated. With Italy, totally complicated. Albania played his role nicely. So it was very, very, flattering, and it was true, and I was proud of that. But